Dorian Yates.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is my second podcast, and when I was thinking about doing a podcast, it's really, who do I want to speak to and who am I going to find an interesting conversation? And this one is very almost self-indulgent because I'm a huge Robby Robinson fan, and this guy is one of the main guys that inspired me to do bodybuilding in the first place. So I owe a great debt to Robby Robinson. And if you don't know who Robby Robinson is, then you bloody should do. All right. So I'm just going to get a little rundown of like the contest achievements. Robby did apparently 300 amateur bodybuilding contests before going pro. So I'll run through the main contests: Mr. America, Mr. Universe, Mr. World, Mr. International, Mr. Olympia, tall class, Mr. Olympia heavyweight, Night of the Champions, Professional World Cup, Best in the World, Grand Prix winner, Night of Champions again, Mr. Universe, Mr. Olympia, and 3 times Masters winner. So I probably missed some stuff out there, but the list is too long, man. So that's a little bit of the contest history, but I'm more interested in the man, and I'm a huge fan, so I probably know some stuff that other people don't know. And I'm going to tell my little Robby Robinson stories before we get into this, Rob, if that's okay. So my first introduction to weight training or bodybuilding was through karate, and I was doing karate, and then me and my friend Adrian, we found the weights, and we started doing some weights, and somebody told us, hey, you can get bodybuilding magazines at this, just one store in Birmingham is where I lived. It's a pretty big city, but there's only one store there that had the bodybuilding magazines. And you go, there's this little cubicle, they got cigarettes, they got candies and stuff like that. They got the magazines at the back. And the bodybuilding magazine that I saw was Joe Weider's Muscle Builder, Robby Robinson on the cover. And unfortunately, it's at the back, and you've got to ask for it, and it's next to the Zipper, another homoerotic magazines. That's where the bodybuilding magazines were. So you imagine, I'm 16 years old. It's a little bit, I got to ask for this magazine. But anyway, I got the magazine, and I saw this guy, Robby Robinson. For me, you looked like there was something from outer space, man. And, the peak bicep, the lats, the V shape. No, really, I'm telling this, I'm 16 years old, man. I've never been exposed to this, to bodybuilding, right? So we bought the magazines, and not only was the thing about Robby that me and my friends like, it wasn't just the physique, it wasn't just that you were a bodybuilder, you were different, you were cool, and you had that kind of I don't know, it's like a rebellious kind of looking, persona. You had the cornrow, you had that that ripped up vest t-shirt thing that you used to wear. You look totally different, man. So you got me into bodybuilding. Fast forward, I won my national championship, everything like that. I got to turn pro. I got into Night of Champions, which is one of the contests that you'd won. So there I am. I got to Night of Champions. I've never been to the United States before. I haven't been to New York. It's pretty, it's pretty intimidating. I didn't know what to expect. And I get on stage there. I don't know anybody. Or, all the guys know each other. There's a little cliquey thing going on and everything like that. I didn't know anybody. And I'm up there, and I remember hitting my compulsory poses. And I hear this bass voice. Come on, Dorian. That's it, Dorian. Come on, Dorian. Encouraging me. And I look over. Who is it? It's Robby Robinson. I mean, I knew you were there, but I would be too shy to come up and say hello or something like that. So what? Robby Robinson's encouraging me. It blew my mind. And I remember we had no internet, no emails, stuff like that. So I sent you a handwritten letter to thank you for that, and you wrote back to me, and that was amazing. And we've met each other over the years here and there and in Gold's Gym. We managed to get one breakfast one time in a firehouse and have a little chat. But I think there's so much that I'd like to talk to you about, and so much information we can get out there. And I haven't heard it, and probably a lot of people haven't heard it. So that's why I wanted you to be one of my first guests on my podcast. So Robby Robinson, the Black Prince. I call you the eternal bodybuilder because you just keep going, man, and looking great. And you're in your 70s now, and you look amazing. So welcome, Mr. Robby Robinson, to my podcast.
Awesome, Dorian. I appreciate you having me on the show.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, man. So, I mean, we're just going to chat, and I like to make sense to start at the beginning of a story. Mm-hmm. So I was introduced to you in Joe Weider's Muscle Builder, mm-hmm. and I saw they were showing at the university pumping iron. So I saw pumping iron and moving and everything like that. Yeah. So at this point, you're Robby Robinson, you're world champion, you're in Venice, and you're in the pumping iron movies. But tell me, Robby, what's your background, and how did you get to be there in Venice and being a professional bodybuilder? What's the background to that?
Dorian, it was just a dream. It was a vision, something I had created. And I kept working for it. I kept doing it, competing in the amateur AAU, traveling to all the competitions, and then, winning, some of them placing high, winning all the awards. But back in those days, you didn't have Black bodybuilders that weren't in it. They weren't going to competition. And I just crashed all that madness. And, I had fun with it because you're going up in areas that you're not going to be able to get back out of after sundown.
Yeah.
That's just how it was. No Black person's going to be standing up on the page posing with no posing boots on. It's not going to happen. But I just loved what I was doing, and I stayed with it. I put all my energy into it. Every competition, I trained 7 days a week, 6 days a week, the whole body every day, Dorian. I didn't even think that was no eating and dieting, protein and glutamine. I had no clue. I just trained, ate, rest, and believed in my dream.
So it was hard work and genetics at that point before you got all the information.
Yeah, my mother and father both had really good physiques. Her on the shapely side, and my father, 6'2", 225 pounds of just muscle. He worked in the lumber yard.
Yeah.
So he was always lifting and moving these things and shredded physique, and I just, I looked at both of them and I said to myself, I'm going to start working out. I started working out in my parents' closet with train wheels. I had no clue, though. But I just had this vision that I was going to do something awesome. I didn't want to be, just like the regular person. I wanted to achieve something, accomplish something, do whatever it was I wanted to do it positively.
It always starts up here, right? Everything starts up here. You got to see it first.
Yeah, you have to. You have to form that vision in that mind. And regardless of what everyone is saying on the outside of you or around you, you just dismiss it. And that's what I did. Absolutely. They told me, you'll never be Mr. This. You'll never, they ain't going to let no Black person do no book. You ain't going to win no Mr. America. Yeah. You ain't going to do this. You ain't going to do that. Though I didn't even hear it. That was so focused on what I wanted to get done. It just didn't penetrate my psychology. I just kept going. You say no, I say yeah.
So you were from Florida? Is that where you were brought up?
Tallahassee. I was born. My family came basically from Barbados back in the old days. Yeah. They migrated to Georgia. This is like during the changing over the slavery time, Dorian. Blacks were going around in caravans when I grew up and realized where we were and everything. And we went from Georgia, from Barbados, my family, to Georgia, from Georgia to Tallahassee, Florida. That's where I grew up.
Well, we got a lot of Jamaicans in UK.
Yeah.
And, a lot of these guys, they don't even work out, and they look amazing. They've got the small waist and the shoulders and everything.
Yeah.
So,
but they just have their genetics, the good physiques, bases, the whole 9 yards. So I come out of that kind of background.
Yeah. So I don't know. I read. Get these memories coming back from the old magazines where I think you were somewhere in Florida and you had to break in somewhere at night to work out because they wouldn't let you in the day or something. I don't know. I remember something like that. Is that true, or is that just something that Weider made up?
What? Say that again, Dorian.
I read, I think, way back, in the days when I was reading about yourself in the Weider magazines, I read that you were back in Florida or wherever you were before you got to California, that you had to break in a place and work out at night because they wouldn't let you in the daytime or something.
I remember when I first encountered you in England, I remember seeing you sitting on the sideline when I was posing. I think it was at Kerry Case gym or something like this.
Probably.
Yeah. And I noticed you then. You seemed to be wanted. You were sitting right on the edge of your seat. I'm observing you, right? I didn't know who you are, but I remember the face and the person. And I thought, well, this kid want to do it. That's exactly what I said.
And now have that drive, man.
Mr Olympia, I thought that was awesome.
So when did you go out to California and get introduced to the whole scene at Gold's Gym and everything?
I went out there like 1975. I worked in the newspaper business. I was like a computer worker for AP News System and UPI. And I worked in the Tallahassee Democrat. I worked there for like probably 7, 8 years. And then, I would start winning all the placing high in the competition. My physique got out there a little bit in the magazines. And then Joe Weider sent me a letter in 1975. He sent me this letter. I thought I was high. I was like somebody had given me a drug or something. Yeah. I thought, you're going to go train with the Weider boys. I was so excited about all of this. And then once I got the letter, I just pretty much dismissed myself from the job that I had, the little money that I had, my family. And I decided I want to go to California and train with the Weider boys. That's what I did.
So when you were featured in Pumping Iron, which was filmed in '75, that was pretty new for you. You were pretty new on the scene then.
It's all happened. I make that move. I get there. All of a sudden, I'm appearing on a movie. Pumping Iron. They're talking about the bodybuilders, and the guy's going to do something that I guess help build a legacy for it. And I got involved with it and the training. And I mean, it's as you say, it was just like a whole nother world.
And when you moved to California, I mean, I don't know because it was different when I was competing. The Weider organization was much bigger. There was much more money involved, and he was paying salaries and having guys on contracts and stuff like that. Was that the case back then? Because I remember seeing you and Arnold and everybody in the Weider magazines with the crash weight gain and all these little Weider products and everything like that. And for me and my friends, it looked like, you're living in paradise and you're getting paid just to train and everything's cool. And was it like that, or was that a bit of an illusion?
That was a bit of an illusion because nobody used it.
Yeah.
We had no concept of measuring and weighing the amount of food you eat, rice and chicken. Nobody was doing this, though. We were just eating eggs and bread and omelets and salads, tuna salads and chicken salad. We weren't really dieting. I had no clue about dieting or preparing for a competition. It was just, I ate everything. We ate everything. There was no mandatory way of eating. There was no supplement. Nobody talked about glutamine and creatine, even in those days.
It didn't exist then back in the 70s, I guess. But what I'm trying to get to is, were you getting a salary from Weider? Were you getting paid? Were you able to make a living just from bodybuilding at that point? Because that's the way it appeared to us. Like, wow, these guys just get paid to train out there.
What people fail to realize is to tell the story deep. You don't want to dismiss or disrespect anyone. But when I came out there, I thought that I was going to get a contract, but that was none of that was available. At that point, it was basically Arnold was the man.
Yeah.
And in the process of all of that, I came out there, as I say, in a hope, a wish, and a dream. And I ended up sleeping on top of Gold's Gym for like about 3 or 4 days to a week.
So you're sleeping in the gym?
Was like what?
You're sleeping in the gym? You're sleeping in the old Gold's Gym?
No. Kent Keene, you remember Kent Keene?
Yeah.
Kent Keene was like one of the guys back in that day. He gave me a blanket on the pillow. I slept on top of the building for like, as I say, about 3 or 4 days. And then another guy from Florida named Mike Armstrong allowed me to stay in his place until I get myself, make a little piece of money here, get a little piece of money there till I get myself going. And that's what happened. It was just like a dream and a vision that just couldn't be denied. And I just kept going forward regardless, the income of negativity. I just have always been doing.
Yeah,
I don't let it
that's
get
the only
my
way,
mindset.
man. That's the only way. You've got to do it for yourself. Nobody's going to encourage you. I had the same thing in England. I mean, I didn't face the obstacles you did, but It was like, you can't go to America and beat American bodybuilders because I'm like, why not? And you know, you gotta believe in yourself. If you don't, nobody will. But what I'm getting to is, like, it looked like this lifestyle was very glamorous and so on, but to make money, I guess you got to do appearances. You're gonna, at that point, you used to sell your courses in the magazines, right? You buy Robby Robinson. Actually, I sent a check to you when I was a kid. I didn't get anything back.
You know, Dorian, it just happened, and all of a sudden, you know, I get a couple of pictures in the magazine, and people see who I am, and we get exposed at the Russ Warner Classic. From that point on, it was like, I would think I charged like about $750, and I got like about 10 on a row, about 10 on a row, and that helped me start. Seriously, that set me up. I could get an apartment, I could eat different, you know, I can dress different a little bit, even though I love my torn, tattered clothing, but I could, you know, eat better. I could see myself coming out of this, and that's how my life has always been. I might get a little bit down rough in there, but then sometimes there's always that high.
Well, always. You know, when people see people that are successful or they see a champion, they just see that, right? They just see, wow, you know, the pinnacle, but they don't see the downtimes, you know, and the tough times that you got to go through to get there, right?
Yeah.
You know, so.
But, you know, I love that though, Dorian.
Yeah.
Love that moment when you can't really see the cloud because you can't, that vision is blocked out by this cloud, but you have to see through the cloud. You have to keep going. You can't believe what is happening at that moment is going to be forever. I think nothing is forever.
No.
You make up your mind, make it happen.
Yeah, and you got to just keep believing in yourself. And nothing stays down, nothing stays up, man. That's life, up and down.
You're going to have that.
Well, I think a champion is somebody that when they go down, they get back up. As simple as that, man. You got to get back up again, right?
Yep, you have to.
Yeah.
My whole theory is people look at me and say, well, you're 75. You shouldn't be doing this. And I said, why not?
Well, you're an amazing example, man. If you can do it, maybe other people can do it, or even just a little bit of it. Even, you know, they don't have to be as great as you are, maybe, but they can look at you and say, well, if Robby can do that, even if I can do 10%, that's great. Most people in their 70s, they believe that they have to be declining, they have to be weak, they have to be a little bit sick, because they're 75, right? So that's to be expected. But you're showing that that's, you know, something else is possible. And
anything.
You're Robby Robinson, and you've got great genetics and everything like that. So maybe you're exceptional, but still, if people can just take a little bit of what you do and put it into their lives, it's going to be beneficial for them.
That's why I created this, what is it, the Robby Robinson 16-week masterclass program. And it breaks down certain steps that you have to follow to get that body into the shape that you really want to. And I started out a program, and I worked with Tim Taylor. That's the guy that's where I am right now. Tim was one of the people who helped me organize on it. You know, you can have the knowledge. I'm not a businessman. I'm a bodybuilder.
Absolutely, man.
So it took me time to learn things. Tim Taylor came in there and kind of started teaching in his way how he do things. And I'm observing him and talking to him about it. And then it's kind of helped me become a better business person. Yeah. That's what I'm seeing in myself. And, you know, it takes other people sometimes to kind of carry you over to that next level.
Absolutely. That's how I mean, you can't be good at everything. And I think a lot of athletes, a lot of sports people, bodybuilders, whatever, different sports, they come up against this because you put all your energy and you know, you've got expert knowledge in this one area, but business is something else. And the world is full of sharks, man. I mean, I don't even tell you. You know that,
you can make one mistake and everything is gone.
Yeah, everybody want to come and take a bite of you as well, you know. So
exactly, you know. So just having Tim come in there and help me put all this stuff in a certain order, write it in a certain way, so the client can understand it. And you know, I picked up client after client after client after client, and it's growing, Dorian. That's my legacy. That's what I want to lead up with someone to you be able to say, I can do this. Nothing is impossible.
What kind of people do you train, or what kind of people come to you for advice? Is it a very wide cross section, or what kind of people are you generally dealing with?
I'm getting just regular, like Tim. Tim came to me, 20% body fat. I had the steps down, but not in a military form.
Yeah.
She kept me organized on it, put it in a military form. And from that point on, he studied this thing, wrote it out. It became like a six-step program, which I love, right? Because this person come in and put all my words and what I'm thinking into writing. And he came to me for 16 weeks. He came in there with a 20% body fat. And we went into the gym twice a day, abusing each other. But then when he came out, he ended up with the cover for Men Fitness. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. And that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to I think I have like about 3 or 4 couple bodybuilders, some single people, but more just the regular people. I think that's better for myself.
Yeah. Actually, I'm doing some coaching myself, and I mostly work with regular people that, they want to lose weight, they want to get in shape, people. Stuff like that. I find competitive bodybuilders difficult to work with, let's just say.
I agree. Dorian, I totally agree with you. They have this made up mind about things, and you're trying to come in there now and change all that, and they get a little afraid, or they don't want to do it, or they have to do it. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah, or then I find I get a little frustrated with people that don't want to give 100%.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
Sometimes regular people are giving more than a guy that's doing competitions. So
exactly. Yeah, that's what Tim did, Dorian. He came in there and says, "Hey, I want to do this. I want to see results." When those results weren't happening fast enough, so you have to look at the plan. What are you not doing? And that person changed the carbohydrates. See, that's it. His body changed.
Yeah.
In that one move. But see, they don't want to do that, Dorian. They want the quick fix. There is no quick fix. Freak me.
Well, that's the world we live in now. It's people are sold this illusion of quick fixes and easy routes. There is no easy route. We know that. We've been there in the trenches.
It's not possible. You got to get in there and do the work. If you're not going to do the work, just like you did preparing yourself for competition. I've viewed all your videos and stuff like that. You were in there beating it.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to go in there and do that and eat your food right and take care of yourself, focus on what you're trying to do, it's not going to happen.
And, if something comes easy anyway, you don't appreciate it. If you go and you put yourself through that hard work and you get the results, then you can feel proud of what you did. There's a sense of satisfaction that you get that people are missing out on when they're looking for the shortcut. And anyway, there isn't one. I want to go rewind back a little bit, Robby, because I don't know if many people know this, but being a bit of a Robby Robinson nerd and reading all the old magazines and everything, you're a veteran, right? You're in Vietnam. You're happy to talk about that a little bit? When was that?
Yeah, cool. During I was like an all-world athlete in high school. I was a football player, track star. I was like, what you call it, Jim Thorpe. Yeah. Jim Thorpe was the Declan champion, right? I did all the events, and I was a great football player. Not like they're doing today when they're kicking a little round ball, but national, almost being drafted into becoming, a sports star.
NFL.
And what happened is during those days, you were talking about going during the Vietnam War. I was drafted right out of high school. I had to go to serve the Army for 2 years. During this time, I'm thinking like, wow, this is a war going on. So they were shipping everybody out. You finish basic training, advanced instrument training. I went to jump school. You go to jump school. And from that point on, they prepared you to send you to Vietnam.
And how old were you then, Robby? What age were you then?
During that crisis with the Vietnam thing, we were all prepared. They sent us all to Dominican Republic to create and do war games, to prepare to go to Vietnam. And we were all shipped over. And then it seemed like all of a sudden that it became a conflict, and everything was now starting to just be normal again. They were trying to de-escalate the war.
What year was this, Robby? What year and what age were you?
Oh, I was like 18, 19.
18, and what was it? Late 60s?
Yeah, it was like I'm going to say 64, 65.
Okay, so it was pretty early in the conflict then.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm not ready to die. I haven't even lived yet.
Yeah.
But I'm being shipped out to fight a war. I don't know what the heck I'm fighting, but I'm being shipped out. And I mean, that was traumatic for myself. I couldn't fathom, I'm just starting to live, and now I'm going to go ahead as a possibility. I die. So after they shipping us all out to Vietnam, the war started to de-escalate. They started dropping more bombs, but de-escalated it. I was there for probably 6 months to a year, and then they shipped me back to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, in America. And from that point on, I was there to ETS and get out of service because you only serve 2 years.
Okay. And
but to me, that was a harrowing experience. Even when I think about it, sometimes I get chills.
That's why I was asking if you're happy to talk about it, because I do remember probably this seminar that you recall seeing me at. I think it was in Birmingham, which where I live, because at that time in the 80s, we had a lot of American body pros coming over and doing seminars and stuff around UK, because of course there's no internet or anything like that. So the only way that you see your bodybuilding heroes is in the pages of the magazine, or at a seminar or something like this, and it's like, wow, that guy is like, he's really real. He's not from the pages of a magazine. He's a living, breathing person. And I do believe you told the story. You were in the combat in Vietnam, and your platoon got ambushed or something. Is that correct? Is that the story I remember?
There's a story behind all of that, and Dorian, look, I'm blessed to be alive. Really, I really am. I'm not one of those people that escaped it. It just happened to me, and I was able to get myself in a position where I did end up dead. I went for years and years of what you call therapy, coming out of all of it, because everybody else, pretty much, came out of it not in a good place, injured, blown apart, lost a limb, nutcase when you come out of that place. So I feel blessed to come out of that the way I am. Seriously.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, you must really appreciate life after an experience like that.
Love life.
I can only imagine. I've never been in this kind of a situation, but you definitely lived a life, man.
I love it.
So, can we talk a little bit about your relationship with Weider, with Joe Weider?
Not to disrespect the dead, it was a bad experience for myself. You come out here to this world and you want to achieve your goals and accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, and when you encounter such a thing, it's just like I think I became a little angry within myself. I think I was already kind of a quiet person anyway, but I kind of crashed inside of myself for a long time, D. It took me a long time to come back out of that, and have a lot more confidence about myself, because, to come there and that person tell you because of your skin color, I can't give you a contract. I thought that was sad. I said to myself, wow, that's heavy. And the best thing about it, D, was I was able to get exhibitions and seminars and travel all over the world and do the things that I wanted to do, go places I never thought was possible, meet people, you make money, travel. So I feel blessed. I don't have no negative feelings for Joe Weider or Arnold or any of those people. It would be a waste of time and energy, seriously.
Yeah, it'll only hurt yourself having grudges. But there was an incident with the bust of Joe Weider that basically used your physique, right, and put his head on it. And I know that story, and it's funny because Joe is a character, man. I went to his office, and he wanted to show me these pictures of himself when he was younger, and his physique and everything. So he showed me these pictures, and they're not impressive or nothing. Then he shows me one picture, and it's pretty impressive. I mean, he got this most muscular pose, and he looked real thick and muscular and everything. I'm like, wow, yeah, Joe, you look great there, yeah. And then I saw Peter McGough. You remember Peter? He was the editor of Flex and Muscle and Fitness. So Peter was in the office, and he's like, how did it go with Joe? I said, yeah, it's cool, man. Everything's good. And he showed me some pictures of himself. I said, they weren't so good, but hey, I saw this one picture of Joe, and he was looked really good and this and that. And he looked thick and muscular. It was pretty impressive. So Peter said, "Oh, is it this picture? It's like this and that." I said, "Yeah, that's the one." He said, "No, that's not Joe Weider. That's Clancy Ross." He put his head on Clancy Ross's picture and showed to people that that's his physique. And I thought, wow, that's crazy. This guy has got all the magazines. It's worth millions and millions. He's got this whole empire, but yet he still really would want to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah, that was his dream. When he came to me with the whole thing of it, people don't realize it was supposed to have been Arnold's body with the boss.
Okay.
That's why Arnold moved his bus to Columbus, Ohio. That's what the whole thing was supposed to have been. Joe Weider's head on Arnold's body, but Arnold didn't go for it. I went for it because he told me that, it would be your bust in my office, in my Hall of Fame. I'm dumb, young and dumb. And I took him, for that. My lady friend at that point, she was pissed. She thought that was just a horrible thing to do. And she thought from the beginning that my body was being used as his boss. And so I sit there for 7 days, every day for hours. And this guy came in with the scapular and captured every line, every lump, every split in the muscle. My head was on it. My Fu Manchu.
Yeah, I remember that.
The whole thing
Afro
was on it. And then when we went to the unveiling, my lady friend was there, I was there, and we were sitting there, and he comes up on the stage and he unveils it, and his head is on it.
So you had no idea up to that point that was going to happen, right?
Everybody was with me. They go, "Robby, what happened to your head?" Because we had taken pictures already of it, right?
Yeah.
And then when we saw his head on it, everybody said, "Well, this guy stole your body. He wants to have that physique like you got." That's what it was. Yeah. He wanted his goal was not really to be a publisher. He wanted to be a bodybuilder. That's what I
found that pretty curious. That I'm kind of looking at him and thinking, wow, this guy, I admire him because he built this whole empire and everything. But what he really wanted, he would have given all that up just to being a bodybuilder,
just
really,
to
right?
be on that, yeah. And that's when I realized that, the situation was like very grave. When I went to take it to court, nobody wanted the case. I mean, you're talking about a multi-millionaire here.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to handle that case. And if I went through the course with the case, I would have to pay his lawyer fees.
Right. That's how it works in the USA. I know how it works, man, because it doesn't work like that in Europe. In Europe, so I had a problem with a book in the USA where a guy was making claims against me, and it was false. But the lawyer told me, say, look, you can fight it, and you'll win, but it'll cost you like 40 grand. Or you can consider give this guy 10 grand, give him 10 grand, and he'll go away. So in Europe, it doesn't work like that. If you take somebody to court and you're the faulty party, you've got to pay for everything. So it stops people making frivolous claims, because if you lose, you're gonna, But in the States, you don't have nothing to lose by making claims like that.
Yeah,
so that's a tough situation. I had that myself.
Yeah, but it's a good learning experience, D. It was a good learning experience. I enjoyed it. It made me a stronger person. I realized that things like that happen. There are people out there like that, but you can't let that trigger you into being like that kind of a person. So I just stay always above anything negative. I don't even want to talk about it. Seriously.
Yeah. All right. Well, we did talk about it. I just wanted to get it out there. It's an interesting story, right, for people that maybe don't know that, because we've got younger guys here that haven't heard these stories before. So we had a chance to talk a little bit last time I was in LA. We were in the firehouse. We had some breakfast together. We had a little talk. I'd like to extend on that a little bit, because we got talking about, the bodybuilding competition and the performance enhancing drugs, the steroids and everything like that. And we got talking about that. And I believe what you were doing back then, what we were using then was like, I was surprised myself how little it was. So can we talk about that? Like, when did you get introduced to using steroids, and what was your use and everything like that. If you don't mind talking, I'd like to get that out there because you've got this amazing physique, and everyone would assume these days, because they're used so widely, that you were using, you know, extensively, but you weren't. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Dorian, when I came at 75, I didn't even know that were steroids. Nobody told me you had to take anabolics to get in shape. These guys were already into that area because they were already there. They knew the system.
Yeah.
And I trained with them doing the pumping iron and all the time. Preparation for the Mr. World, I had no clue.
So you were at that level of Mr. Universe?
You got to talk. What people have to realize is I had a cold-blooded physique already.
Yeah.
I already had the 20-inch on, 29-inch weight. I already had all of that. Joe Weider didn't give that to me. God gave it. Somebody else, and my mom and my pop, the genetics. Yeah. I was already built. When I got down to 2 weeks before the show, I was preparing for the Mr Olympia. I was preparing for Mr. World. And I came in, and Dan Howard, who was like the gym owners at the time, he said, "Robby, what are you on?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" They thought I was stupid. They go, "What you mean? What are you?" I said, "What do you mean? What am I on?" You go, "What are you taking?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You see this here? He held the little vial up."
Yeah.
And the little vial was Primobolan Depot.
Right.
And he said, "Well, why don't you do? You come back this afternoon, and I'll give you a little something." I mean, young and dumb. We're not sure what this is. Have no clue. And he gave me the shot, Dorian. At 2 weeks out, I was already shredded. As I walked from the gym back to my apartment in Venice, I remember feeling myself just being inflated. I could just feel my body just going like, "Whoa!" I'm walking. I'm saying, "Wow." What is that? You understand what I'm saying? I was that dumb. I was that dumb, though. And I'm just feeling my body swell up, and I'm thinking, "Wow." And I kept walking. I was sitting so excited about this new whatever it was. And I remember getting to my front door, and I collapsed. I collapsed right there on the floor. Black as my skin is, I turned gray. My lady friend drugged me in the house. I'm shaking, chills. Eyes are rolling all back in my head as she was telling me. And she drugged me to the bathtub, put me in the bathtub, and turned cold water on me for like about 15, 20 minutes. It revived me. It's almost like getting a shot to the heart.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know I had sickle cell. I didn't know that was in my blood. So that's when I would say, people, you're going to go do that stuff. You better get you some blood work. You better find out exactly you got any kind of diseases or a health issue that you don't know about. Yeah. That with that drug, once it hits your system, you can stumble upon heart attack, busted blood vessels. You have no clue. But anyway, I came out of it, went to New York, won the Mr. World, all the body parts. And then we went from there. We were starting to film, not pumping iron more so. And then from there, we went to South Africa for the Universe. So I was able to come out of that. I will tell anyone, I get hundreds and hundreds of requests to do antibiotic, write up an antibiotic plan. I won't do it.
Yeah.
They offer you all kind of money out there, Dorian. I won't do that. So I tell them I'm not a doctor, go to your doctor. Now, if you want me to come in the gym and kick your booty, come to the gym. I'm not going to set nobody's drug plan. It's not going to happen. I'm not a doctor.
Again, I'm going back to my childhood, reading the bodybuilding magazines. Mm-hmm. I remember vaguely that in the Weider magazines, it said you had some heart problem or inflammation of the heart or something like this.
Yeah.
Was that the early sickle cell that you didn't know what it was or something?
Yeah. That was when I was young. As I said to you, I was training 6 days a week, working from 5 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, going home and training. You don't know what you're doing. You're just out there dreaming. Yeah. That's what I was doing. And I got what you call it pericarditis, or inflammation of the pericardium around the heart. And I went through where they had to go in there and they had to take whatever it was, the inflammation off the heart, so that your heart you can beat back regular again. You couldn't even bend over and pick up a piece of paper, Dorian, because of the inflammation. It's a shift. It's like a fluid. You get a little bump and has a little pus in it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what was around the heart. So I went through all of that, came out of it, became healthy, and I don't get sick, get colds, get the flu, none of these kind of things, because I usually take care of myself. And I've been doing that ever since all of this madness started. I was worried about that.
So am I hearing this right, Robby, that your total experience with anabolics was one time with Primabol and Depot, and that's it?
From that point on, Joe Weider, because now I'm working, they want to use my body more and more on the cover. They're saying you have to get bigger.
Yeah.
And I had no clue what they were talking about, Doris. I didn't know. I've never taken Dianabol. I've never done these kind of things. Never used these kind of substances.
You know what I'm thinking now, Robby? You know what I'm thinking now? And
say again?
Do you know what I'm thinking now? And everybody watching this podcast is thinking this. If Robby Robinson looked like that with virtually nothing, what the hell would he look like if he had done a full protocol?
That's what it is, though. I was driven. It was here. I already saw the pieces. I knew what I was going to do. I focused on it. I don't care what you say out here. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm going to get what I want done. And that's how I was diligent, focused. I had this attitude. You say I can't do it. I said, yes, I can. From that point on, Joe Weider sent me to his doctor. Okay. I hate to call the man's name, Dr. Walzak. And from there, I learned that I had sickle cell. He did the blood work, came back and told me, Robby, I think you have sickle cell. That's how I found out. Okay. And from that point on, I have never, the only anabolics that I've used throughout my bodybuilding career was Dorian Robinson, Primabol Depot, Primabol acetate, the Robinson 50. That's it. I've never experienced a Dianabol. Okay.
So you just use the injectables, no orals?
No diuretics. I never went into that level. No gluten, or what you call that stuff, insulin, growth hormone. Never used it. Yeah, never got it. They didn't know how to use it.
I think back in the 70s and 80s, any growth hormone would have been the ones they take from cadavers. Anyway.
Yeah, so that's when it started. Yeah, about 70. Yeah, probably around about there, going into 80, 81, 82. Yeah, in the 80s, I would say that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you're using a little bit. Just for contest preparation, a little Decadurabolin and Primabol.
No, what I would do, Dorian, was I would do it for 8 weeks, and then you're thinking of this. People don't realize that Decadurabolin stays in your body for 2 years. That's chemicals in your body for 2 freaking years. So it's no sense in me going back and packing more 200 on 200, because in those days it was 200 every 2 weeks.
Right.
Not 200. It didn't work like that. Nobody had that concept yet. But we were doing 200, and what he was doing, he was giving me an intravenous feeding of glutamine, creatine, the B vitamins, vitamin C, arginine, intravenous. That's what I've been doing for, God, pretty much 50 years.
That would have been very advanced back then, right? In the 70s or 80s, that would have been very advanced stuff.
Yeah. I've always used intravenous feeding along with the anabolic preparation for 8 weeks.
Okay.
So the body internal organs and the blood is being nourished. It's just as if you're trying to, build that muscle. I'm getting total nourishment from that. And I still do it to this day, Dorian.
So how often do you have an intravenous treatment?
Say again?
How often do you have an IV treatment? Like once a month or something?
Back in those days, Dr. Rand was the person that kind of put me into that because of the fact that I had the sickle cell. See, Dr. Rand pretty much brought my blood level back up to where I would have my oxygen level basically pretty high, because that's what happens when you have sickle cell. The oxygen level dies. If the oxygen level dies, then you have pain in the bones and the knees and the joints, and you're not in a good place. You want to hurt yourself. It's not a good place.
It must be pretty impossible to train if you can't deliver oxygen.
You can't. It's right. I mean, that oxygen is really what empowers and help that muscle progress better. The more oxygen into that bloodstream, the more muscle you're going to build. That's what I believe. And I've been doing it, I'm saying, for 50 years. I'm even on an oxygen tank a couple of times a week, Dorian.
Okay.
I do that to keep my oxygen level up. So when I go into the gym, absolute beast.
So how often do you go in an oxygen tank? Yeah, I've seen you in the gym, man.
I do it 3 times a week. I do it Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, sometimes Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturday. Even in the gym, I have like my own menthol oxygen containers. I'm inhaling all this oxygen. It helps the body recover between sets. You get more energy. You can go in there and train a little bit longer. But I'm in the gym for per body part, small muscle group, 45, 50 minutes. quads, hamstrings, and calves, probably another 45, 50, 60 minutes sometimes.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I recommend. I'm like, if you're in the gym for more than an hour, you ain't training hard enough, man. You need to just get in there, blast it, and get out. That's it.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah,
exactly.
I train people, and after 45, 50 minutes, I say, okay, we did 3 sets of this, 3 sets of this, 3 sets of this. If I wrote that on a piece of paper and told you to do that for 45 minutes, it looks like nothing. But it's what you put into it, right? It's the focus, it's the intensity.
Yeah.
And if you do that right, you don't need to spend a lot of time in the gym.
Anything is possible. I totally agree with you, D. Yeah.
So you went from training, what, 4 hours a day or something back in the day?
Yeah, 4 hours a day to 45, 50 minutes. I figure intensity is what really builds the muscle, increases of the heavy weight progressively. I mean, nutrition is probably the biggest piece of it. I mean, your rest. I mean, all these things have to be like on the menu. So you're keeping them up, and you're definitely going to build muscle and burn fat if you do it. And
so how's your diet now and your supplementation? I know you usually got the herbal stuff, right? The herbal supplements?
Yeah. Dorian, we're in the middle of, myself and Tim are in the middle of shooting the documentary on my life, right? And we're both in such incredible shape. We're waiting to start filming next week or something, right? So I'm just like in such a great shape. I'm going to start flashing on Instagram and Facebook. You're going to be, wow.
I'm going to keep my eye out for that, man. And of course, I mean, I'm assuming because you didn't use a lot of anabolics, that your own testosterone level is still healthy.
But it's very high because see, I indulge in a lot of herb like Damiana. I take a lot of milk thistle and stuff to help keep that liver clean and nourished. I use ginkgo biloba, which is a herb that helps give the body again more oxygen. I drink it as a tea.
Okay.
I use Golden Cola mixture along with MAC and other herbal formulas to keep my testosterone level high and clean. So if I'm doing all these things, eating healthy, everything is on a good positive wavelength, then my testosterone is something like 575, 565.
And
I went to the VA. You have to go to the VA every 6 months, so I always get it checked. Get it checked. At my age, it's unheard of because I've taken care of myself my whole life. That was my whole goal coming into bodybuilding. I wanted to see if I took care of myself, what would I look like when I get 70, 80, 90?
Yeah.
That was my thing. Seriously, I wanted to look better as I got older from being a bodybuilder. And I'm definitely accomplishing the goal. I'm happy with the results, and I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm enjoying it.
Amazing, man. Amazing. You're inspiration to everybody, man. To everybody. What else should we talk about? Diet and herbs. And myself included, of course. Most bodybuilders that use anabolics, they get older and your body doesn't produce the testosterone. You got to replace it. So you've avoided that because you didn't really go. You didn't put a lot of stress on your body and your own production.
I think a lot of people don't realize that you have to kind of nourish the body in another way, and that's what I've taken to herbs for like over 40, 50 years, Dorian. I've been using these formulas for years. It's not something I just started. I started using these things back then when in the 70s. I was already using these things because I realized that, hey, if I'm going to go that route, it kind of halfway protect myself. So I've been doing it now, as I say, for 50 years.
You're way ahead of the times, man, because now people are coming around and realizing the power of herbs and stuff. To be honest, I mean, I'm looking into it now and I'm learning, but 20, 30 years ago, I'd be like, herbs, what?
I know. Yeah, I know. But my whole thing and goal was I wanted to come out of this healthy door, and I wanted to look well and feel well and be excited. 75 in my culture, you're pretty much done. You got heart disease, diabetes, you're already gone. So I said to myself, I wanted to not fall in that trap. I wanted to keep doing what I was doing that was healthy. And, I feel, D, you might not be, I feel so young.
Oh, you look amazing, man. I mean, you look like 20 years younger than you are, so.
Yeah, I feel like, I feel so young and alive and in a happy place with myself. And I love helping people. Myself and Tim have become a great team. Tim has been the person that has really they're actually the blueprint for my whole program. So I'm excited about life and where I'm going right now at this moment.
And it's a great feeling when you help somebody, you give them information. You can't do the work for them. I mean, they got to do the work, right? But you can give them the blueprint, you can give them the plan, and you see them come out the other end as a different person, looking different, but not just looking different. They're feeling different. They're a more confident person. They're a better person, and you've played a role in that. Just by sharing the knowledge that you've gained through all these decades of work and experimentation in the gym and everything like that. Just a little, I love training, man. So I want to talk just a little bit more about training. I've seen you train in Gold's Gym. You're still moving some poundages, but like back in the day when you were younger, did you do some, like the kind of more heavy powerlifting stuff, like heavy benches and squats and stuff?
I've always believed in doing almost like I have a system where I go 1 week, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, handling the heaviest weights that I can, regardless of the body part of the exercise. And then I have a week where I go in there and I blow it out. 10, 15, 12, 20 reps.
So
I'll do that.
You still do some low reps work?
Oh yeah. I still do that rep work because the body needs to change. You can't keep giving it the same thing. You have to take the lighter weight sometime and go in there and rep it out. And I like doing it because it definitely takes the muscle to a whole nother burn level and a whole nother development level. This is my thinking of it. You can track more, you can squeeze more, you can inhale, exhale, you can push yourself to do it a little bit longer. So I enjoy, what I'm doing just like I did when I was a kid.
So what can you tell me what? I'm just curious for myself, like what you were benching and squatting when you were, like at the peak of the reps?
I've never kind of really gotten into all we will always do like 5 sets of benches, 5 sets of benches, 5 sets of inclines, dumbbell flies. That was basically my network for building the chest. Chins, T-roll bar, long pulley roll, barbell roll, hyper extensions for the back, basically. Quads, I love to do squats. You remember the scene in the Pumping Iron where Ed Coyne is falling out?
Yeah.
That was a learning point for me. I remember watching Eddie do that sitting in the background, and I said, that's what you have to do to build muscle. You have to take it to that level. I loved it. Yeah. Such a great experience to be with those guys, seriously.
Oh, I mean, people say to me now that my era was the golden era. I'm like, the golden era was the 70s because that was really the start of bodybuilding being popular, right? That was the golden era, really. So
that was the golden era, really. Yeah. I loved it, though. It was such a great time period. I remember coming here in 75, and it was more like a hippie time period at this point, where everybody had the Volkswagen Rabbits and everybody was sleeping in their cars and trucks. Yeah. And I love that time period, everybody holding hands. And then like the 80s came in and everything changed. I was like, whoa, what happened to all of that other thing that was going on? But the whole world changed. I've seen it change from that time period from the 70s to the 80s. Yeah. It's a whole
80s, I think the 80s is when bodybuilding became more commercial.
Yeah.
You had the movies with Arnold in. Arnold was in the movies. Sly Stallone was in the Rocky movies. And muscle became fashionable. Yeah. And the whole industry exploded from there. So maybe it lost a little bit of the, I don't know, the romance, the innocence of those earlier days.
Yeah, the innocence. I agree with you on that. Yeah. Definitely.
Golden days, man. We just talk, man,
Definitely, man. Love you. Take care of yourself.
Love you too, Robby.
Have a good one.
Tremendous respect. And
thank you.
I'm going to let you know when we're out in California and we'll go sit down in the firehouse and talk.
Definitely have to take you to lunch. Thank you.
All right,
bye-bye, guys.
All right, man.
Much success.
Thanks, Robby. Thanks, mate. Have a great day there.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you.